Phase 1. The hook. Visual. Grainy, overexposed shot of a desolate suburban street at midday. The air shimmers with heat. A single bicycle is leaning against a telephone pole. The sound of distant cicadas and a low, ambient hum. Voiceover. There is a sickness of the soul that is not fatal, but it is infinite. It's the feeling that your life is a dress rehearsal for a play that will never open. You are waiting. Waiting for the real story to begin. For the phone to ring with a call to adventure. For the inciting incident that will finally shatter the mundane and reveal the hero you were always meant to be. We're going to give this feeling a name. Let's call it the Deferred Life Syndrome. It's the quiet, persistent belief that who you are now is just a placeholder for who you will be someday. In this video, we are going to dismantle that belief. We will use the story of a failed rock star turned convenience store manager as our guide. And by the end, you will understand how to stop waiting for your life to start, and begin the heroic act of living the one you already have. Phase 2. The problem. Visual. A montage of mundane, slightly unsettling images in a 1990s Japanese aesthetic. A convenience store interior. Fluorescent lights humming over rows of perfectly stacked instant noodles. A salaryman's tired face reflected in a train window at night. A television screen glowing with static in an empty room. Voiceover. You know this feeling intimately. You feel it on Sunday night, when the shadow of the coming week falls over you, and you think, is this it? Is this all it is? You feel it when you buy a book you know will make you a better person, and it sits on your nightstand, its spine uncreased, judging you in its silence. You've built a mythology around your own potential. It's a beautiful, epic story starring a future version of you. A you that is more disciplined, more courageous, more essential. This future you has written the novel, learned the language, started the business, spoken the truth. Meanwhile, the present you is just the stagehand, setting things up for the star who is perpetually late. Voiceover. Think about it. That project you keep putting off? You tell yourself you're waiting for the right burst of inspiration. The difficult conversation you're avoiding? You're waiting for the perfect moment, a moment that never arrives. You see a small injustice, a colleague being spoken over, a rumor spreading, a casual lie being told, and you think, someone should say something. But that someone is never you. Not yet. The stakes aren't high enough. It's not your call to adventure. And here is the hidden cost, the fine print on the contract you've signed with your future self. Waiting is not a passive act. Every day you defer your life, you are actively practicing the art of being a background character. You are training yourself, through 1,000 tiny concessions and postponements, to be secondary in your own story. The danger is not that your real life will never begin. The danger is that this, the waiting, the deferring, the spectating, is your real life. The prelude has become the entire performance. And one day you risk waking up, not with a sense of disappointment, but with a horrifying sense of accomplishment. You will have perfectly executed a life of non-commitment. A life spent waiting for a hero who was never coming, because he was waiting for you. Visual. A slow zoom out from a man's face. He is in his late 30s, looking tired. He's standing behind the counter of a brightly lit convenience store. This is our Kenji Endo. Phase 3. The solution. Voiceover. This is where we must turn our attention to the archives of forgotten stories. Specifically, to a man who was the undisputed king of the Deferred Life Syndrome. His name is Kenji Endo. Visual. A series of faded, grainy photographs depicting Kenji's life. A black and white photo of a teenage rock band, full of bravado. A shot of him years later, awkwardly holding a baby. A final, stark image of him in his convenience store uniform, staring blankly ahead. Voiceover. When we meet him, Kenji's life is a museum of past potential. His guitar, a relic of a failed rock and roll dream, is a constant, silent accusation. He runs a small convenience store, a franchise he inherited, a life he didn't choose. He is raising his sister's baby, a responsibility he stumbled into. He is the patron saint of the almost was and the could have been. He is drowning in the mundane. And yet, this man becomes the key. He becomes the hero who saves the world. Not once, but arguably 3 times. The question isn't how this transformation occurs. The question is what we misunderstand about the nature of transformation itself. We believe a hero is forged in a single, cataclysmic event. A spider bite, a dying planet, a call from a mysterious mentor. Kenji's story exposes this as a lie. A comforting, but ultimately paralyzing, lie. The solution he offers is not about becoming someone new. It is about the terrifying, difficult work of remembering who you already are. The heroism of Kenji Endo is founded on the reluctant activation of forgotten childhood principles. He doesn't find a new source of strength, he finds the keys to a part of himself he had locked away and declared childish. Let's break this down. This is the Endo Protocol. It consists of 3 core principles. Principle 1. The principle of the forgotten symbol voiceover. Look back. Think about when you were 9, 10, 11 years old. You drew things. You created secret clubs with your friends. You made up codes, rules, and symbols. We dismiss this as play. This is a profound mistake. Childhood is not a preparation for life. It is the most authentic version of it. Your childhood creations, the flag for your treehouse, the superhero you drew on your textbook, the secret handshake, were not random. They were the raw, unfiltered expression of your deepest values. They were a constitution written before you learned the language of compromise and cynicism. Voiceover. Kenji and his friends created a symbol. It was their mark, the banner of their secret base. It was a promise they made to each other in the summer sun. A promise to be heroes, to defend justice, to fight evil. Decades later, when that same symbol appears, co-opted by a mysterious cult pushing the world toward oblivion, Kenji is forced to confront it. The symbol isn't just a plot device. It is a psychic anchor. It reminds him that the man stocking shelves and worrying about milk deliveries is the same person who once swore an oath to protect the world. His power doesn't come from a new discovery. It comes from the archaeological dig into his own past. He unearths the blueprint he himself drew. Visual. Black screen. New text appears. Principle 2. The principle of small-scale justice voiceover. The Deferred Life Syndrome thrives on scale. We tell ourselves we will act when the stakes are high enough. We will be courageous when the world needs saving. Kenji teaches us that this is a complete inversion of reality. You do not learn to save the world by waiting for it to be in peril. You learn by practicing justice on a small, almost insulting, scale. Kenji's epic journey does not begin with a global threat. It begins with something small. His childhood friend, a man nicknamed Donkey, has died. The official story is suicide. It doesn't feel right. It's a quiet, nagging inconsistency. There's no glory in investigating it. There's no audience. It's inconvenient. It's messy. He doesn't set out to unmask a conspiracy. He sets out to understand what happened to his friend. Visual. A quiet, somber shot of a funeral. Kenji stands awkwardly in a black suit, looking out of place. Voiceover. Heroism is a muscle. It atrophies from disuse. You cannot expect to lift the weight of the world if you have not been training on the small weights of your daily life. Defending a colleague in a meeting. Telling an uncomfortable truth. Checking in on the friend who has gone quiet. Keeping a small promise. These are the exercises. This is the training. Kenji's quest to save humanity is simply the logical endpoint of his quest to honor one friend. Principle 3. The principle of the reluctant first step voiceover. Our culture has sold us a poisonous image of the hero as the one who is fearless. The one who charges forward with unwavering conviction. This is why we feel so inadequate. We feel fear, we feel doubt, we feel a profound desire to just go back to bed and let someone else handle it. Kenji Endo frees us from this tyranny of fearlessness. Kenji is terrified. Constantly. His entire journey is a cascade of reluctance. He doesn't want to go to the school reunion. He doesn't want to get involved. He doesn't want to leave his store, his niece, his fragile, predictable life. His internal monologue is not, "I was born for this." It is a constant, weary sigh of, "I guess I have to." Visual. Kenji, looking exhausted and scared, clutching an acoustic guitar like a weapon. He is standing in a dark, empty street. Voiceover. The hero is not the one who doesn't feel fear. The hero is the one who acts despite the fear. True courage is not the absence of fear, but the judgment that something else is more important than fear. For Kenji, that something else is first the memory of a friend, then the safety of his family, and finally, the fate of the world. The first step is not a leap. It is a reluctant shuffle. And that is enough. Let's use an analogy. The Deferred Life Syndrome convinces you that you live in a small, one-room apartment. You know, intellectually, that there must be more to the building, but you've lost the keys. You spend your life decorating that one room, waiting for a landlord to come and let you into the rest of the house. The Endo Protocol is the realization that the keys were never lost. They are in a dusty box in the corner labeled childhood. These keys, your forgotten symbols, your small-scale allegiances, your reluctant duties, don't unlock a new house. They unlock the rest of your house. The hero you are waiting for isn't in another building. He's just in another room, waiting for you to turn the lock. Phase 4. The application, visual. A return to the stark, grainy aesthetic. We see a hand, writing on a piece of paper with a pen. The shots are methodical, instructional. Voiceover. This philosophy is not just a story. It is a manual. An operational guide for exiting the waiting room of your own life. So let's make it practical. This is a 4-step guide to activating the Endo Protocol. I want you to treat this not as entertainment, but as an assignment. Step 1. Conduct an archaeological dig. Voiceover. Tonight, or as soon as you are able, find one artifact from your childhood. Between the ages of, say, 7 and 13. A drawing you made. An old school report. A trophy. A diary entry. A surviving toy. Do not just look at it with nostalgia. I want you to interrogate it. Hold the object and ask it a question. What promise did I make to myself when I valued you? Visual. A close-up on an old, faded drawing of a caped superhero. The drawing is crude but earnest. Voiceover. Maybe that drawing of a spaceship was a promise of exploration. Maybe that story you wrote about a talking animal was a promise of compassion. Maybe that secret code was a promise of truth and camaraderie. Drill down until you can distill that promise into a single word. Justice. Adventure. Creativity. Truth. Fairness. Community. Write that word down on a piece of paper. This is not just a word. This is a cornerstone of your original architecture. This is your forgotten symbol. Step 2. Identify your donkey. Voiceover. In Kenji's story, his friend Donkey represents quiet, unassuming integrity. The man who just does the right thing without any fanfare. Your next step is to identify the donkey in your own life. This is not necessarily someone in mortal danger. It is a person, a principle, or even a part of yourself that represents that quiet integrity. It could be a colleague who always gives honest feedback. A family member who works tirelessly without recognition. It could be your own neglected physical health, or a creative skill you've let atrophy. Voiceover. Your task is to perform one small, unexpected act of justice or support for your donkey this week. It must be small. Buy them a coffee and tell them you appreciate their work. Send a text message acknowledging a specific, positive thing they did. Take 20 minutes to practice that instrument. Go for a walk. The act is less important than the intention. To practice justice on a scale so small it is almost invisible. This is your training. Step 3. Embrace the, I guess I have to. Voiceover. This is a linguistic technique. A reprogramming of your internal monologue. The next time you face a task you are avoiding, the procrastination, the difficult conversation, the small ethical choice, I want you to catch the moment of deferral. The moment you think, I'll do it later, or, it's not my problem. In that moment, I want you to say this exact phrase out loud, even if it's just a whisper. Say, well, I guess I have to. Voiceover. Notice the grammar. It's not a motivational mantra. It's not, I can do this. It is a sigh. It is a statement of reluctant acceptance. This is the language of Kenji Endo. It is not about manufacturing enthusiasm. It is about acknowledging responsibility. This phrase is the sound of the engine turning over. It is the sound of the reluctant first step. Use it. It is a powerful key. Step 4. Reclaim your anthem. Voiceover. Kenji had his song. A song he wrote as a young man, full of nonsensical lyrics and raw energy. Bob Lennon. It was a piece of his past that became a weapon in his present. It connected the tired, 30-something convenience store manager to the passionate, defiant kid with a guitar. What is your anthem? Voiceover. Search your memory for a song from your youth, high school, college, that made you feel invincible. Not just a song you enjoyed. A song that felt like it was about you. A song that served as the soundtrack to your own private movie. Find that song. Create a playlist of one. This is now your emergency broadcast system. The next time you feel the gray weight of the mundane, the next time you feel the fear of taking unnecessary action, do not just listen to the song. Perform it. Sing it, out of tune, in your car. Hum it under your breath as you walk into the difficult meeting. Let the rhythm and the memory reconnect the circuit between the person you are and the person you have been. This is not nostalgia. This is a transfusion of courage from your past self to your present self. Phase 5. The proof, visual. A montage of scenes from 20th century boys, focusing not on the epic moments, but the small, quiet, decisive ones. Kenji looking at an old photo. Kenji making a phone call. Kenji getting in his delivery truck and driving away. Voiceover. Why should we believe this works? Why trust the philosophy of a character from a work of fiction? Because the story is not the point. The story is a vessel for a profound psychological truth. The proof of the Endo Protocol lies in the structure of his own narrative. Kenji's most important heroic act is not his final confrontation with the giant robot, his guitar blazing. That is merely the climax. The most important act is the one that happens near the beginning. It is his decision to close the convenience store for one afternoon to attend a school reunion. Think about that. The inciting incident of one of modern fiction's great epics is a man deciding to go to a party he doesn't want to go to ask some awkward questions about a friend's death. It is so mundane it's almost laughable. But without that small, reluctant, inconvenient choice, the world ends. His final, spectacular heroism is simply the logical, mathematical conclusion of 1,000 small, I guess I have to, moments. The spectacular is built entirely on a foundation of the mundane. Voiceover. This fictional model has a name in the real world. In psychotherapy, particularly for treating depression and anxiety, it's called behavioral activation. The core insight is revolutionary. We assume our feelings dictate our actions. Once I feel motivated, I will go to the gym. Once I feel confident, I will speak up. Behavioral activation proves this is backward. The truth is that our actions dictate our feelings. You do not wait to feel like a hero to act. You perform a small, hero-adjacent act, and that action begins to change your perception of yourself. You act your way into a new state of being. The Swiss psychoanalyst Carl Jung put it best. You are not what you say you are. You are what you do. Kenji Endo never once declares, I am a hero. He simply stocks the shelves, then investigates a death, then warns his friends, then saves a child, then confronts a cult. He just keeps doing the next, right, inconvenient thing. His identity as a hero is a consequence, not a prerequisite. The lie of the Deferred Life Syndrome is that the ordinary man is a state you must transcend. That is false. The ordinary man is not a starting block. It is the entire arena. It is the only place from which true heroism, the reluctant, necessary, unglamorous kind, can ever emerge. Phase 6. The call to action. Visual. The video returns to the first shot. The desolate, sun-bleached suburban street. The bicycle is gone. A single crow lands on the telephone wire. Voiceover. The waiting room has a door. It has always been unlocked. The work is not about finding a magic key, but about mustering the reluctant courage to simply turn the handle. So now, a task for the collective. We are going to begin our archaeological dig right here. In the comments below, I want you to share one thing. What was your childhood symbol of justice? Was it a superhero you drew? A secret club name? A rule you invented for a game? A promise you made to a friend? Describe it. Let's unearth these forgotten blueprints together. Let's see what we were building before we were told to be practical. Voiceover. If you believe that the most complex truths are not found in headlines, but are hidden in the margins of the stories we tell ourselves, If you feel that there is a pattern in the static, then you have found your headquarters. Subscribe to Hello, Yesterday, and join the investigation. Finally, Kenji's story is about being haunted by the past and the desperate attempt to correct it. But what if the past itself is not what it seems? What if entire centuries of our history were fabricated, a grand conspiracy to control our present? To continue down that rabbit hole, your next briefing is our analysis of the phantom time hypothesis. It is the logical next step. Click the link on the screen. The past is not finished with us yet.